Hi everyone, just giving you a weekly update as to where real estate's at, what is happening that's new, what's not new, and what different opportunities have come about in the last week. So the biggest developments so far in the last week is that, as you know, New York State is continuing to remain on pause through May 15th. So what that means for us is that as agents, we're continuing to do business virtually as much as possible. We are still able to make appointments for certain situations, and we have been continuing to list houses, get buyers under contract, and get different real estate transactions closed through the process virtually with, again, limitations on physical appointments, but still exceptions here and there when it comes to those that we're permitted to participate in. So everything's still moving smoothly there. And again, if you are thinking of buying and selling right now, people are still able to, and we are still able and happy to accommodate that, especially given the systems we have to make it seamless and navigate you through the virtual and physical process right now. That aside, the second development is that this week stimulus checks were distributed or were starting to be distributed. So most people received automatic deposits, direct deposits of their stimulus checks, and those amounts were in the ballpark of $1,200 per individual up to $2,400 for a married couple, depending on your income. And we're going to include the breakdown of that income and the thresholds as to what those tiers are that you would qualify for or qualified for that economic relief stimulus payment. The other thing we're including is, if you haven't received that stimulus payment yet, a stimulus tracker. It is part of the IRS website. It is actually developed by the IRS to help you narrow down where your stimulus check may be and when to expect it, so that if it is coming via mail, you know where it is. If it was directly deposited and you're not sure which account it may have gone to, they're able to tell you. So that should help clarify where and when you might get it. The other thing that I wanted to touch on is that right now, we've touched on it before, it's a great time to be looking into the opportunity and potential of refinancing, either an income property, a personal home, any properties you may have. Interest rates are very, very good right now, and it is a good time while we're all home and while we're all working through, remotely, the ability to go through all of those finances and kind of figure out what may be the most cost effective to refinance. That being said, I do want to let you know about one other thing that's happening right now, one other real estate development, and that is that we are seeing, this is for buyers, sellers, and anyone thinking to refinance, we're seeing a lot of appraisals coming in under value. So what does that mean? It sounds scary at first. There is always a solution. We have dealt with this tons in the past. However, it is a red flag right now that banks are starting to really rein in and become more conservative because the economy is contracting, and because of all the stimulus money coming out, because of the state of different people and where they're at with employment and whatnot. The banks are becoming more conservative, and they're trying to tighten up their regulations in regards to how much they're willing to lend, which is okay. And we've dealt with this a ton of times before, and we get through it. But what that means is that for the past few years, you all have probably seen that there has been a very, very progressive escalation and increase in appreciation in our area. So houses have been flying off the market. There's been tons of competition for buyers, and a lot of times in certain areas, houses are going for far beyond list price when they sell. And that's been an indication of the lack of inventory, the fact that there are so many buyers out there right now, and the fact that interest rates have been very affordable for the past few years. Well, right now, we are, like I said, starting to see them tighten up the reins, those lenders, and bring in those appraisals to a little bit lower than what we've been seeing, so that they can be more safe and conservative. And what typically happens in a transaction, if we have that situation, is that we either have to renegotiate, or we need to come back to the drawing board and come up with some creative solutions around it. Usually it requires a little bit of give and take on both sides, but again, there's always a solution. It's just another another hurdle that, we have to get through, which there are in any transaction. So that's what we're looking at right now with the appraisals. But what that may also mean for your refinance is that if you really don't have that much equity in your house, if you just bought it last year for 200,000, then the likelihood of being able to either get a ton out or to be able to hit that value right on the head may be a little bit harder. So we are encouraging you, if you have a lot of equity in your home, you know that the value is going to be there. We don't want you to spend money and end up not being able to capitalize on that opportunity. So be confident that the value is there. And if you don't know, please reach out to us. We do free valuations. We can absolutely help you to know if your house is definitely right now in this climate going to get you that value. We can't know what the appraiser is going to come in at, but we can at least have a ballpark and be very conservative with our ballpark so that you can plan the best you can. And we want to make sure that, like I said, you're not just spending money to find out that it's not going to work for you long term right now with a refi. So just be confident in your value. And again, we offer free valuations. We can help if that is a needed service. But if it's just a question you have, or if you want to chat more about what those low appraisals mean for the economy, what they mean for your refi, your buy, your sell, please reach out and let us know. If you have any questions about the stimulus checks or anything regarding pause, please let us know. Everything, like I said, is still moving along in real estate. It's just a little bit different, as we've talked about before, but with all the systems in place, it's seamless and we're here to help. I hope you all have a great week, and we'll all talk to you soon.